off the nearby River Thames. Added to that, the child she was carrying in her swollen belly would be entering the world within weeks. "Mum, leave it to another time, will you? I never knew Dad, and I have other things on my mind at the moment. I could kill a cuppa, so why don't you go in and see to the kitchen, eh? You'll find a meat and potato pie in that basket our George carried in. We can eat once this load is off the cart." She knew her mum was partial to a pie and noticed her eyes light up at once. "I'll get cracking," Milly replied, licking her lips as she headed up the short path to the front door, her hands empty. "It's no place for me out in this rain. Not at my time of life, any road." "You've got your hands full there, love," a friendly voice called out from over the road. Ruby looked up from where she was examining the rug lying in a heap in the dust. She wasn't sure if the woman watching from her gate was referring to her mum or the furniture waiting to be unloaded and taken into the house. She stood up straight, wincing as a pain shot across the lower part of her back. As much as she'd been warned to take things easy, she'd gone against advice and insisted she could move the family into their new home without paying for hired help. It was their first proper home, as up to now they'd lived in rooms in a house shared with 3 other families near the river in Woolwich. There wasn't a lot of money spare to pay for such things as moving men. Smiling at the ruddy-faced neighbour, she replied, "You could say that," and then grimaced as another pain consumed her. She reached out to hang on to the side of the cart to help her stay upright. "My Lord, you shouldn't be up on your feet in your condition. When are you due?" the woman asked, as she hurried to Ruby's side and supported her. "You're coming with me," she added, not waiting for an answer as she guided Ruby towards her own open front door. "Not for another month. But my furniture," Ruby gasped, unable to say much more. "Don't worry your head about that. It looks to me as though there's a baby wanting to be born. Sometimes they just can't wait," her new neighbour advised. She paused to take in Ruby, who was so thin that she looked no more than a child herself. Her face was far too pale, and her blue eyes were circled in black shadows. She didn't look well enough to deliver a healthy baby. "My oldest 2 are home from work for their dinner soon, and they'll have that lot shifted," she continued, in a voice Ruby knew she wasn't meant to argue with. At that moment, she didn't even have the power to speak, as yet another pain, like she'd never known when having her George, swept over her. She leant against the woman for support. After being almost dragged up a steep flight of stairs, Ruby was gently helped onto a large brass bed. "I'm just going to put some newspaper and old sheets down, and then we can make you comfortable. Will you be all right on your own just for a couple of minutes?" Still unable to speak, Ruby nodded as she took deep breaths until her body stopped complaining. "By the way, I'm Stella," the woman said. "Stella Green. And although I say it myself, you're in good hands now, so don't you worry. Hear me?" She stepped out into the hallway, which was no more than a small space at the top of the stairs, with another door opposite the bedroom they were in, and bellowed, "Donald, get your nose out of that book and down to Mrs. Layton's. Tell her there's a baby wanting to be born. After that, get down to the corner and look out for your brothers. Tell them I want 'em home now, and they aren't to dawdle. Do you hear me?" "Yes, ma'am," a young voice shouted back, followed by the front door slamming shut. Stella bustled back into the room, her arms full of linen. "Now, I'm going to have you stand up for a minute while I put these sheets over the mattress. Do you think you can start removing your clothes? I have a nightgown for you to wear." She shook out a white high-neck voluminous gown and laid it over a nearby chest of drawers. "Once we've settled you, I'll get the fire lit." She nodded towards a black-leaded iron grate. "I can't thank you enough," Ruby whispered, as she unbuttoned her shabby brown coat. She wished she wasn't wearing her oldest clothes underneath, although her best clothes were not much better.